The king who banned mediums from the land ended up sneaking out at night to hire one. That is not the setup to a Halloween special. That is in the Bible. Welcome to Bad Bible Stories, where the stories are ancient, the people are messy, and yes, that's really in the Bible. Today's story is the Witch of Endor, also known as Saul's wildest mistake. By this point in the story, Saul is not doing great. He is still king of Israel, but the Bible has already made it very clear that his reign is falling apart. Samuel, the prophet who used to confront him, guide him, and tell him the things he didn't want to hear, is dead. David is still out there, clearly becoming the next major figure in Israel's story. And now the Philistines have gathered their army for war. Saul sees the Philistine camp, and the Bible says he is afraid and his heart trembles greatly. That's Bible language for the eye. King is spiraling, so Saul does what you would expect a king of Israel to do. He asks the Lord what to do, but the story says he gets no answer, not by dreams, not by prophets, not by the Urim, which was one of the sacred ways Israel sought direction. Nothing. The prophet is dead, the enemy is close, the king is terrified, and heaven is silent. So Saul turns to his servants and says, "Find me a woman who is a medium, so I may go to her and inquire of her." Which is a wild sentence, because earlier in the story, Saul had already removed mediums and spiritists from the land. The man banned the very thing he is now requesting. His servants tell him there is a woman at Endor, so Saul disguises himself, takes 2 men with him, and goes to her by night. Just picture that for a second. The king of Israel is sneaking around in disguise, under cover of darkness, to visit a medium because the battle is coming and he can't get an answer any other way. This is not a strong moment for the monarchy. Saul gets to the woman and says, "Divine for me by a spirit, and bring up for me the one I shall name to you." The woman immediately sees a problem. She says, "You know what Saul has done, how he cut off the mediums and spiritists from the land. Why are you laying a trap for my life to bring about my death?" And Saul, still pretending not to be Saul, swears to her by the Lord that no punishment will happen to her. That is one of the strangest parts of the whole story. Saul is using the name of the Lord to reassure a medium during the illegal séance he requested after he could not get an answer from the Lord. The Bible does not need to add commentary there. The facts are already bad enough. The woman asks, "Whom shall I bring up for you?" Saul says, "Bring up Samuel." Now remember, Samuel is the prophet Saul kept disobeying while Samuel was alive. Samuel had already told Saul that his kingdom would not continue. Samuel had already told him the Lord had rejected him as king. And now, with Samuel dead, Saul wants another meeting. The woman does whatever she does, and then suddenly she sees Samuel, and she screams. That detail is incredible. The medium sees the dead prophet and immediately panics. Whatever she expected to happen that night, this was apparently not it. Then she realizes who the disguised man really is and says, "Why have you deceived me? You are Saul." The disguise is over. The king is exposed, and Samuel is here. Saul asks what she sees, and she describes an old man coming up, wrapped in a robe. Saul knows it is Samuel, and he bows with his face to the ground. Then Samuel says, "Why have you disturbed me by bringing me up?" Not, "Hello, Saul," not, "Good to see you," just, "Why have you disturbed me?" Saul tells him, "I am in great distress. The Philistines are fighting against me, and God has turned away from me and answers me no more, either by prophets or by dreams. Therefore, I have summoned you to tell me what I shall do." And Samuel basically tells him that the answer has not changed. The Lord has turned away from Saul. The kingdom has been torn from him and given to David. Samuel says this is because Saul did not obey the Lord's command concerning Amalek. Then he tells Saul that Israel will be given into the hand of the Philistines. And then comes the line Saul absolutely did not want to hear. Samuel tells him that tomorrow Saul and his sons will be with him. That is the message. Saul does not get a strategy. He does not get a rescue plan. He does not get a loophole. He gets told that the battle will be lost, Israel will be defeated, and he and his sons will die the next day. Saul immediately falls full length on the ground, terrified by Samuel's words. The Bible also says he has no strength in him, because he had not eaten any food all day or all night. So now the king of Israel is lying on the floor in the house of the medium he outlawed, after hearing a death sentence from the dead prophet. He asked her to bring up, and then the story gets even stranger. The woman comes to Saul and sees that he is terrified. She reminds him that she obeyed his request and took her life in her hand. Then she asks him to listen to her and eat something before he leaves. At first, Saul refuses, but his servants join in, and eventually he listens. The woman has a fattened calf in the house, so she quickly kills it. She takes flour, kneads it, bakes unleavened bread, and serves the meal to Saul and his servants. So just to review the evening, Saul disguises himself, breaks his own law, visits a medium, asks for Samuel, gets recognized, hears that he and his sons will die the next day, collapses on the floor, refuses food, then finally eats dinner at the medium's house. This is not a side plot someone made up later to make the Bible more dramatic. This is in 1 Samuel. After they eat, Saul and his men get up and leave that same night. The next day, the Philistines fight against Israel. The men of Israel flee. Saul's sons are killed, including Jonathan. Saul is badly wounded by archers, and when his armor-bearer refuses to kill him, Saul falls on his own sword. That is how Saul's story ends. The Witch of Endor is one of the strangest stories in the Bible because it is not just spooky. It is specific. It gives us the disguise, the night visit, the fear, the scream, the dead prophet, the collapse, the meal, and the battle the next day. And yes, that's really in the Bible. Subscribe for more bad Bible stories, where the stories are ancient, the people are messy, and sometimes the wildest part is not what people believe about the Bible. It is what the Bible actually says.